right. We are back. We're getting set up here. We have our next guest that has just arrived. Without further ado, we got Michael. Welcome, Michael.
Welcome. Thanks for having me.
That's great to have you.
Great to be here. I'm going to slide this just a little bit closer to you. It's on an arm, and it sometimes has a mind of its own, and it slides away. I am very excited. Before we get too deep into things, though, I have to apologize because we tagged somehow the wrong account on the stream today.
All right.
When we set up the stream, we don't actually do it natively on Twitter. And I think we had a little bit of a typo.
What's up, Kev?
How we doing, Michael?
All right.
A little bit of a typo when we tagged the Kinetic account. So if you are watching, I'm going to read this very carefully so that we don't mess this
I'll
up
put it up on
twice. Oh, yes. Let's get it on the screen. The screen. KINETK, KINETK_AI. Did I get it right that time?
I mean, I think so, but we just hired a new community manager, Chaos. So, hopefully he's on. And
I would
certainly on.
I would be
what's up, Chaos?
Astonished if Chaos is not on. Chaos,
shout out. Welcome aboard.
Chaos has been causing chaos in chats.
That's what he's here for.
Longtime Monad in the Morning super fan. Definitely appreciate Chaos, and we congratulate Chaos because he's joining up with an awesome team. When I first heard about Kinetic AI, my mind was like literally blown. It's been something that I think I can relate to as a former music producer and certainly video creator. I know Jessup relates as a longtime creator, and we've had quite a bit of excitement in the Monad community as well. I think a good place to start, though, would be, what is Kinetic from the broad strokes perspective?
Sure. And thanks for having me. Hey, fellas. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Kev.
This is Chaos's Super Bowl, by the way. He was like Mana in the Morning super fan. He's like, we got Michael and Kinetic on today. Like, I cannot wait to see what Twitter looks like after this. I just had to shout that out. Chaos, we know you're watching. We love you.
That's right.
Catch you soon.
We do. So, the tagline is, we're building IP infrastructure for the future of digital creativity. But, what does that actually mean? So think about a world where anyone who's creating content, right? If you're a TikToker, if you are a blogger, if you're posting on YouTube, if you're an NFT artist, or if you're a company making IP, our belief is that you should have the ability to A, prove what you make is yours, and B, be able to track where that content goes in real time and understand who's consuming it at any point in time. And so, as you guys know, Kinetic is the bringing together of two companies. One is one I started, Trips, and then my brilliant co-founder has started Mentaport, and it really is kind of the next part of the vision, right? Which is building a network, like I said, where anyone at any point in time, wherever they post, can see where their content is going. And we do it through a combination of all sorts of technical stuff like invisible watermarking, agentic AI agents, but that real-time tracking at the core comes back to what we believe is creator-first intelligence at any point in time.
I think the easiest way for anyone in crypto to understand this is stolen memes. Happens all day long. All day, every day. Some like small account like comes out with a good meme. 3 seconds later, maybe realistically 3 minutes later, a large account is posting that meme and it's going viral. And that original creator is like, yo, my meme.
Anything on that.
Yeah.
Shout out KB. This is one of my favorite things to do.
You are a serial stealer.
So I learned it from Dan, my old boss at CMS. We'd all be talking in the Slack chat. And all of a sudden, I'd see at CMS Holdings tweeted out this hilarious thing. It gets a bunch of likes. I was like, wait, I said that. It's like, well, I tweeted it. I mean, it's like, look, we'll see. But I think so that can be done in jest. I think this is like someone's career relies on getting credit and attribution for this large thing that they went out to create. And then when someone else steals it, it just completely undermines the product. Yeah, so
you got it. I mean, it is really at its core just understanding what is happening, right? Because there's a lot going on. part of it is I just want to know where it's going, right? That data allows me to create the next meme or understand where that audience is. It may end up in a market I have no idea it's ending up in, right? It may be being viewed in Japan, and I want to know that. And so part of it is bringing the power back to the creators and saying, you know what? You're in control here. You now understand not only where it's going, but in some cases have some actions around, okay, should we take it down? Should we try to capture monetization? We can talk about all that. But really, to your point, Kev, it's about allowing and unearthing kind of this layer of data that is inherently broken today and bringing that back to anyone who posts anything anywhere.
Well, it could even be like, you may think you created a meme, but like you took the video from Amana in the morning stream where the actual originality of the piece of content came from the stream, not your meme. So it's like you can actually even go backwards all the way to the original piece where it came from. And yeah, I think like that's cool.
And maybe that person's cool with it and they want it to be there, but at least now they know.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, you can like go now to companies and even just say, like here is the impact of the content that we're creating, because now you can see how it's fractionalized into so many different pieces.
Attribution leads to authenticity, leads to an understanding, and that at its core is what we're trying to do. Not a small undertaking, but
one of the coolest things, this would like just be one tiny example of utilizing the Kinetic platform, but so there's this picture that the backpack team snapped when they were all like, they were working towards the Mad Lads mint, I think, and the team was like all locked in, and they kind of staged it a little bit. I think they put some like bean bags in the office, and like a bunch of their teammates were like sitting in these bean bags with like keyboards on their laps, and it really like just looks like a gritty startup, right?
Okay.
Like a bunch of kids in a room looking at monitors everywhere, like working on their tech. And that picture has gone to every single corner of the internet, and it's been circulated. It must have hundreds of millions of views at this point, and so much so that they have noticed, okay, like this image, it's not even a meme, like this image has circulated so widely, it's everywhere. But to have the ability to actually understand like the flows of where it went, where it was posted, why it was posted, how it was posted would just be so cool. But then to Kevin's point as well, like beyond the coolness factor of this, there's like a real utility for the creator economy.
I agree. You said it well. At its core, people, and by the way, the content production is about to amplify in order of magnitude, right? You are seeing people start doing that. I read a stat 5 years ago. So now or 2 years ago, that said in 5 years, 1 billion people are going to self-identify as creators. We've got to be halfway home, right? And how do you actually, at its core, allow them whatever path forward, right? And that's talking about what the next generation of the web is and where we're headed. And I know we're going to get to that a little bit, but that is what we are building. And, if you think about it, it's, again, keep coming back to attribution, who owns what, where did it start, provenance, a blockchain feels like the right way to do that. And then the notion of being able to track usage. I like to use the word like the visual and amoeba, right? Anywhere it goes, then bring that back. And that notion of tracking on chain really opens up a ton of usage.
Yeah, and I think one very easy way to wrap your head around what this technology will bring to market is, artists won't get their songs stolen anymore, or video creators will at least know when people are using their videos and find target audiences. Another one in this increasing age of AI are like deepfakes are very real, and having proof that someone was or something was created on chain by a specific individual is going to become more and more valuable. And that's another application of what you guys are building.
100%. And when you talk about music, right? We talked a lot about in the podcast music, But Marielle brought up, it's not just music, it's voices, right? It's the transformation of who's using whose voice. We are, and to me, deepfakes is actually, if Marielle were sitting here, is one of the reasons she saw that writing on the wall. She's been in AI for well before anyone was really talking about AI. She was at Apple, and then she left to really solve the deepfake problem, which evolved into the technology that she built, and it's just core of what we're doing.
Yeah, it's enormous. Like that like kind of breaks the world if there's no way to do this. Like if there was no way to verify that a real person said something, or if it was made up and you
Yeah.
can spoof anything and no one knows, like two things happen. One, a ton of people are falling for fake bait on the internet. And two, even when someone puts out something that's real, you can't know that it's real because there's so much fake stuff. So like you literally dismantle
Yeah.
all communication channels from the internet so no one trusts it. And you basically spam out a bunch of like fake shit. And it like breaks the entire distribution channel of the internet, which is like maybe the most valuable part of it. So it's basically like, yeah, if you fast forward 5 years and you don't have something like Kinetic to help solve this problem, like the world basically breaks in half, and like there's no way to fix it besides verifiable attribution.
And the velocity of which these AI tools are coming it's incredible. And we do need a system to figure out, how do you authenticate? How do you kind of release attribution? And IP infrastructure is here to stay. Hopefully, I mean, we hope so.
I certainly do too. I think
I'm betting on
it. Everyone who creates anything and wants some compensation or even credit for that,
Yeah,
would agree on that.
And I think at the most famous end too, it's preventing the fake stuff.
Right.
Like we think about creating and getting credit. Joe Rogan's face and voice is getting used to sell random shit on Instagram.
Yes, it is.
From a bunch of like completely illegitimate companies. And he doesn't have a solution for that. He talks about it all the time.
He doesn't have a solution. And I would go one step further. It's not just all content. People are snipping all sorts of pieces of content. And, the notion of where those snippets travel is going to become, I think, part of the next generation of the web, right? Because if you think about how content's going to manifest, it really is going to be these little pieces of content being used to compile different things. We talked about it, just especially in the music space, but everywhere else. I like to tell people we are trying to flip the script on IP from where something starts to where it gets consumed. And to me, that is our core mission and vision. And if we're able to do that, I think a lot of things kind of fall into place in a way that's really net positive for creators, creator autonomy, and creativity overall.
I think this is like the problem that Kinetic solves is very easy to like conceptualize and understand, because everyone has seen at least one example of this firsthand. If you've ever connected to the internet or any social media platform, that is like pretty straightforward, at least from the highest level, to understand why this matters and what this solves. But what is Kinetic like in terms of hands-on? Is it an app? What does a user or creator interface with, if anything at all? How does that actually work? So for like Monad community and others who are tuning in, joining the Kinetic community, what can they look forward to, and like what is that actually going to look like in terms of participation?
Yeah. So my head of brand would kill me if I didn't show a little bit. Come to KINETK.ai and sign up for early access. No, in all seriousness. So you're going to be
in all seriousness, do.
Yeah, in all seriousness, do that.
Definitely sign up for early
I would sign up for that.
But also in all seriousness, we are, as everyone knows in this room, and for those that don't know, we closed an acquisition where we brought on the Mentaport technology team, Marielle, who's not here right now, but my incredible partner and co-founder. And we are integrating basically her tech into the front end. And so maybe an early access in mid-September, just to kind of tease something out for those
Sign
that
up.
maybe sign up. But effectively what's going to happen is on the consumer side, if you are any creator, so we have real integrations at the API level with YouTube and TikTok, but if you're any creator, you will be able to come to Kinetic, 3 clicks. You don't even know it's going to be running on the blockchain, right? It's very kind of abstracted. Sign up with your email. If you do have wallets, obviously we can accommodate that. And you will either link your channels, or you'll be able to drag and drop your content in, and the power of tracking will be afforded to you. And so we will be able, if you are, let's say you're a TikToker, just to keep it simple, every time you post a TikTok, we will be able to tell you where that goes. And so same with YouTube, or if you're a musician and you want to just drag and drop your music before you distribute it out, or if you are, putting a picture online, or if you're putting an NFT out there, right? The ability to actually watermark or not watermark. So that's a little sizzle, because we had some technology that was watermark based and then tracking. We were rolling out a non-watermark base, so we'll be able to actually track content already out there.
Wow.
So that's a little
No
drop
watermark.
for you guys. But end of September, we will be able, at least from a first pass, to allow the Monad community or any creator to come and actually see where their content goes.
That's pretty soon.
Yeah,
We
I
should
didn't put
do
any
it
pressure
as-
on anyone in my company right now.
We should do that when it goes live. We should do
Yeah.
it for Monad in the morning and have you and Mariello back on
I'd
and,
love that.
and talk
Yeah.
about it. Yeah.
Oh
I
yeah,
love that.
Oh, certainly. And we're also gonna use it on the pipeline. We have
That's
a
what I'm saying.
call. Oh, okay, yeah. We'll certainly demo,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
we'll use it on pipeline for all content. We've got a call next week set up to run through some of those items.
Yes,
not
we
to
do.
not to give too much
Yes,
alpha
we do.
there,
But I
we'll
think
be using
early
it.
access beta September.
We can do the clipping attribution correctly now too.
Yeah.
So we'll be like,
You can.
whoever gets the top clips, and it's not like, oh, well, I didn't see this one, I need a bookmark so I can know. It's like, it's just no. Now we know, and we can give you your stuff via Twitter DMs, because we know you want merch.
That's
Maybe
right.
we'll have a single piece, like a golden piece of merch for Kinetic for the top clipper for that week.
Ooh, I love
Something
that.
special.
Plushies.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll cook it up. Real
So
nice.
there's a question in here that I think is a really good question from the community. So Diego Voss says, like, if there is a complaint, do you guys do anything on do you intermediate
Yeah.
part of that, or is it something that the creator, you're just providing the data, and then if they want to go and do a copyright claim or anything like
Yeah.
that, then they do that on their behalf?
No, we will provide that as well. So if you can think about what's to come, you'll be able to have your dashboard, right? And you'll be able to see all your content in there stamped on Monad, and you'll know certificated and attributed. And then there'll be a second part of the dashboard that shows you the analytics for where it is. That will be a premium priced kind of model, and we'll give some for free. But if you really want the whole scope of everything, it'll be subscription. And then there will be a button. So first and foremost, it'll say, hey, did you know this, right? And here's the link, and here's where it occurred. And to some extent, if there's 12 seconds of it, here's the timestamp, etc. And then if it occurs on certain platforms, so if it occurs on TikTok or YouTube or post on Instagram, we will be able to automate some of those processes. And one more thing, if it actually occurs on YouTube, we have a partnership with one of the largest digital rights managers that we might be able to actually capture revenues from it. And so
Wow.
we are leaning in on that. The first level of this, again, is the data.
Yeah.
But we are definitely leaning in, and we have a roadmap for the rest of the year to roll out features like that in order to continue capturing, hearts and minds of creators.
So it's the tracking and then also the enforcement.
We're
You
getting
got
there.
both sides.
We're getting there.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
It is a huge undertaking. Like, you guys are taking on a massive.
I'm gonna be able to go and find every Monad community member who keeps stealing my tweets. Be like, see, attribution. Now you guys can stop throwing it out there. I can find you.
We have
retroactively
we
at
have
that.
one
I'm gonna
month.
get your Elon bucks from it too.
Yeah.
All the views that
Right,
you got are coming to
exactly.
me.
Yeah, it is a big undertaking. You know, and we're gonna roll this out judiciously, right? We want the community to engage. We also want feedback. We want to know, especially, you know, from the Monad community, if you're on our Discord, like what you like, what is feeling right, what other features you want. We really want to engage with the community. At the core, this is a tech-driven business, right? It is a data decision-driven business, pushing that data to anyone who engages. We are not going to launch every single bell and whistle day one,
Yeah,
right?
fair.
But giving you a sense where we're headed, we really do believe, you know, the web is not going to look like the web in 5 years from where it is today. And our belief is that whatever that looks like, it all starts with two things: who owns what and where that content goes. And if we can kind of nail that, I think we're in good position.
Yeah, you're literally preventing. I don't know if anyone here has read the dead internet theory, but if you haven't, you should go and read it. It's very interesting. And then this is actually kind of the antidote to the dead internet theory.
Oh,
It's
interesting.
basically kind of what you're seeing right now with like AI reply slop. It's like that just gets better and takes over all content. And then like there's no
Yeah.
real people, and it's like just bots talking to bots, and like we
Interesting.
can't use it the same way. So
You know what? We're about to get flooded with content, and the tide's going to turn, because then people are going to want to know, was a human involved? Was a component of it? And it's going to happen.
I want a social media platform that I know there are no bots on, that has verifiable attribution.
Interesting.
And if it's only people, then I will actually show up. That the AI bots they're getting too much for me. You're like, we're about to get flooded. Like we're flooded.
Yeah, we are.
I'm drowning in these bot content. Like,
Yes.
you got to get rid of that.
Well, that's why one of the reasons, at least 25 weeks ago, or maybe 26, 27 weeks ago, I was talking to Jessup, and, you know, we really just thought the stream, the live format, where it's not perfect. It's a bit more scrappy. Sometimes we have to put a video on and do an intermission and run to the bathroom really quickly, but that's okay because it's actually human. And you've got a lot of this content that's now so prim and proper and perfected by AI that it just doesn't really resonate with the human anymore. So it's going to be crazy to see how this
But
continues
also
to
gives
evolve.
an ability for fans to engage, which is never going to leave, right? There's this notion of how community and how fans engage with artists, and this kind of stuff is great. I love it.
Dude, I don't know if you guys, my girlfriend was like, oh my God, a Taylor Swift podcast is coming out last night. I did not know. I listened to it. I did not know how insane fans are in trying to interact with their creators until I listened to Taylor Swift talk about what was happening to her. It's like that. If that increases, then yes, Kinetic to me becomes like one of the most important things that people can actually use on the internet. Like it basically breaks, but people go crazy. I don't know if you guys have listened to the Taylor Swift podcast yet. You have to.
I saw the snippets. I had it.
Yeah. Well,
but it was a big deal. It broke the internet. Yes.
If Travis Kelce was using Kinetic, he would know where you saw the snippets,
That's
but
right.
he's not yet. So yeah,
it's okay. We'll put it on the list to try to get him and Taylor on board.
Yeah, you get Taylor to use it.
One of the most interesting things to think about with all of this is, like, for any startup, one of the biggest challenges is user acquisition, like getting people to use what you've built. I am sitting here and I'm thinking a lot about Kinetic recently. I really can't come up with a good reason why creators would not flock to this thing.
I want to say that again so we can snip it one more time.
One more time, Danny Pipelines.
I'll run it back, get the clips ready.
I'm just kidding.
But like, why not? Like, short of not knowing that it exists, which I would imagine is not going to be a problem if it does what
I tend to agree with that, but that's why, we do what we do. And, part of it is it's a great vision, but there's a thousand things that need to come together, execute correctly, right? So we are heads down on building and executing. I agree there's a real value prop here. And I think, this was not possible several years ago, right? The technology clearly that Marielle has built wasn't available. But I also think, you know, the landscape has changed a lot. You know, the 2 letters IP, everyone's talking about it. And 10 years ago, no one gave a shit. And so I just think the time is right for it. But yes, I agree that anyone who cares where their things are going, which I think is a lot. And taking a step back, actually, you know, we talk about creators, IP, but IP is everywhere, right? It powers everything. It powers everything you could see. It powers everything you buy. That data model is inherently broken. And I think, you know, the reality is I think creators should use it, obviously, but there's also a learning curve in anything, in any new technology. How you gain adoption organically is, you know, the hard part. And, you know, you guys are really helping us lean in here to get the word out. So I appreciate that.
Well, as you're running through that, I mean, first of all, no problem. We're excited. But second of all, as you like kind of run through that and, you know, in response to the typical challenge for most startups being like, how do we get users on
Yeah.
this thing? I think there's actually somewhat of a parallel to Monad and Monad technology, where the vision is so grand and you're solving a problem that actually is much needed.
Yeah.
In your case, IP; in Monad's case, like best of both worlds with performance and decentralization for blockchains. The benefit is pretty obvious to conceptualize, but to actually create the technology that and make it work well is such a
Yeah.
challenging undertaking that there's really few people who can actually put all the pieces together in a way that makes sense.
I mean, I agree. You know, I think what you're alluding to is also how you scale, right? Because it's, you know, proof of concept is one thing and MVP is one thing, but how you scale and how you continue to deliver value and how you prepare for scale that may or may not come, right? We hope it comes, everyone hopes it comes, is kind of where we're focused right now, which is why we are going to be we're going to be selective how we launch features and what have you. But yeah, it's no small undertaking, but I've got a great partner in leading the charge there. I mean, everyone from our team. I'm not just singling out Marielle, right? Our head of brand, Carson, has been with me. I think it's 2 years today, actually. So
Look at that.
Shout out Carson.
I
What up,
know, I
Carson?
know.
2 years.
Deborah and the new everyone new who's just joined. It's been a great journey.
It's super cool, super exciting. I'm really looking forward to this.
Me too.
It's honestly wild. Like, even if we think about the kind of evolution of content in the Monad community as kind of like a microcosm of the internet over the past 2 years, I remember, you know, early 2023, we had this Telegram chat where community was probably, you know, 1,000th of the size that it is today. And we were all kind of hanging out in this Telegram chat and making memes, you know, having fun, talking about Monad, talking about what was going on in crypto. And that was right around the time where like AI image generation first started to come out. And, you know, we were just like rendering these like crappy like purple memes wearing like Monad bowler hats and things like that, and we thought it was the coolest thing ever because that's like what was available at the time. And now fast forward 2 years later and Ray J is like, you know, studying film and like using VO3 and other AI models to like create like emotional storylines with his character Chog. And like, it's just crazy to think that this has happened in 2 years. That's obviously happening across the entire internet.
Yeah.
And then if you zoom out even further, like think about what 2027 or 2030 is going to look like, probably an entirely different landscape, right?
Totally. And before I get to that, I want a bowler hat. Okay.
We never got physicals.
Did we
should,
ever get a
though.
physical hat?
Oh, I mean, if my wife's watching, she'll kill me, but I want a bowler hat.
That is such
They're
a
actually
good idea.
epic. That was like my favorite kind of that was like the first memed version of the Mana mascot, which at that time was a purple Pepe. And then we made Dapper Pepe with the bowler hat, and the bowler hat's so good.
We're gonna need to riff on that for the Kinetic gift of the week or gift of the month,
Oh,
because
yeah.
that's
The
great.
golden bowler.
I mean, there you go.
Come on.
I mean,
Priceless.
it is priceless.
That would be
You know, the future's happening really quick, and every time I try to think about where it is, it's evolved. So, you know, I'm not going to give a huge prognostication where we're going to be in 5 years, right? But what I think is pretty certain is a couple things. One, that we are moving, and I use this kind of terminology, and I said it before, this amoeba, where content is going to go everywhere. It's just going to go everywhere, right? And these walled gardens, these platforms will still exist, but the walled gardens are going to kind of start crumbling, and that is really interesting. That's really interesting for the next generation of monetization, how that manifests, who gets paid when, how those business models kind of start, right? It reminds me, you know, of like the Napster days. And then the next 20 years was this brilliant content monetization schema that came out of it. I'm not going to predict that, right? But I do think the future of content distribution is, I mean, IP for me is where it's at for the next 5 years. Like, it reminds me of how people used to talk about like privacy when the first web came out and what have you. You and I talked about, we hate web 2, that word, right? I mean, that word, web 2, web 3, everyone's a creator. We go where the content is being generated. And to me, the future is this rapid explosion of content and authenticity that actually matters as people look to build connections in ways that we don't even know.
Yeah, it's I think it's honestly like an interesting parallel again to Monad. People always ask us and you know, team members at Foundation, like, okay, you get this performant and decentralized EVM, like what new use cases does that unlock? Like what can someone go and build? And the answer is like a lot, but specifically we don't know. You in turn use the analogy often that like when the internet got 10 times faster or 20 times faster in the early 2000s, that opened up this whole new design space. And all of a sudden, new things were possible, but people actually had to go and like conceptualize what Instagram would be or what a Facebook would be or what YouTube would be. And oftentimes it looks a little bit like odd or weird at first. And then all of a sudden it clicks, they get the traction. That's where the content goes. And that's probably going to be the same, I think, for Monad more broadly, and certainly continuing for content as new tools are available, new apps, new ways to track and share IP. So,
well, I agree, and that's part of the reason we're here. Besides the people in this room who have really leaned in and been great supporters, I think, you know, you guys are the future, and so we're thrilled to be part of it. And if you know what gets built, I mean, we're getting built. So there you go.
Bingo. Yes, this is actually a great use case because I remember we were talking on the podcast, like, okay, you at some point you make the decision like blockchain's a really good fit for this, and then you go out and there's thousands of chains. You evaluate, you know, based on a few specific criteria.
Yeah, I mean, Marielle said it best. So, you know, why blockchain? Because it's the best tech, and why you guys? Because it's lightning fast, and that's kind of what we really need, right? When you think about what we're trying to accomplish, the amount of content we are going to bring on chain, and we have started already, and the level of data that we're going to link on chain is going to be really, hopefully. So,
we got a couple community questions.
Let's do it.
Well, before you start, there's been a ton of community questions, but whoever is running your Twitch currently is doing an amazing job answering questions live in the chat. So I just wanted to shout that out.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Kinetic AI account.
Yeah. So we will run some of these. I know you just pulled some up, but
another shout out to Carson and Chaos. So there you go. All right, Kev, what do you got?
Now I don't know if these questions have been answered.
Oh well.
We're gonna do it on stream anyways.
Yeah.
This one kind of more of just like a novelty question, but how quickly can Kinetic detect my content online?
Yeah.
Like what's the time loop there? I steal Danny's content. When can Kinetic let him know that, hey, that guy, you thought, you thought that was your buddy. He's stealing Elon bucks from you.
Yeah. So we get this question a lot, and the future goal is real time. Obviously, we're not
Mhm.
there yet.
Mhm.
Okay. But within 24 to 48 hours, you should start seeing some population of where it is, right?
Mhm.
And it depends kind of how it propagates throughout. Oh, sorry, how it propagates throughout. We are ramping heavily the ability for the agentic AI scanners to kind of pick that up. And so I would say within a few days, you should start seeing it. And then you will start seeing updates every day.
Mhm. And then, so you talked on it a little bit there, but
Yeah.
high level, what does that process look like? Right. To like how to,
Yeah.
I put my content out and then 2 days later I check and I'm seeing where it is.
Yeah.
Like, how are you guys getting that information? Right.
Also, quick apology to anyone if you can hear all this construction noise in the
It
background.
feels like my apartment. Oh my God.
Welcome
This
to New
is-
York.
Right,
we
exactly.
are building. That is for
Yeah,
sure.
we are building. Okay, so I'm going to keep it high level because my Marielle is really the tech genius. But let me keep it high level. So effectively, what happens is we bring in the content and we run a couple of things internally to actually embed AI fingerprints in it, and then we have built agentic AI agents that can go out and find it. And so on the watermarking side, if a piece of content's watermarked, we actually have created a way to embed an invisible watermark that you can't see in the ones and zeros of the content. And so it's actually mathematically in the content itself. And so think of it as, I use the analogy of beacon, right? So you put the content out and we've got agentic AI agents that are kind of looking for the beacon in the wind. And by the way, we don't know what that content is, right? What we know is that it links back cryptographically to a certificate, XY432, has picked up XY432 somewhere, and then there's a match, and that's what we publish, right? So the notion of what we're trying to accomplish here is not necessarily knowing what the content is, but knowing where it is, right? And so that's a little high level around the tech.
So back to like the kind of the point about scale.
Yeah.
Watermarking as a concept has been around for a bit,
has.
both like digitally and obviously, physically for decades and decades, if not centuries. But the fact that AI agents can now go out and assist in not only the watermarking process, but also like the attribution and matching process, is that kind of the main thing that enables Kinetic to
Yeah.
scale and actually be functional at
Yeah. And maybe I'll give a little more what's to come, especially as we think about our ecosystem. So we are going to allow the community now at some point run a Sentinel, be part of this scanning ability, and they'll get rewards for becoming part of our scanning Sentinel. So now we're running it ourselves, but you might see some things in Q4 that allows for the first community members to be part of this and maybe get some rewards. I don't know what those rewards may be. One can always guess what those rewards might be.
Sign up for early access at
That's
Kinetic AI.
See, though, this is why you watch Monad in the morning, because
but
you
no,
get the news that doesn't break
it really is that, right? I mean, the scale. Look, this is what we talk about internally. How do you scale right? How do you scale appropriately? And Marielle said it on the last podcast. There's anyone who claims they're scanning the internet is just lying to you. No one has that scale except for Google, maybe, right? But the ability to build something much smarter and the ability to actually synthesize where it is I think the genius of what she's done.
It is very cool.
Thanks.
I'm super excited for it, and it's even more exciting that there's kind of like a phased rollout pretty soon. Be able to get hands on with the first instance, but also know that there's a lot more coming behind the scenes, and seems like the team is fully heads down grinding at present.
Yeah, we're excited. We're excited.
Awesome. Well,
We're checking to see if there's some more questions here.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna get to. So
Oh.
basically how we run this show, we'll take some questions from the community while we have guests on, and then if your question gets asked live on the show, you get a spin of the prize wheel at the end of the show.
What are the prizes?
It's a lot of
That's
different
cool.
like testnet NFTs, Monad merch,
Right.
pipeline hats, things of that nature. So if you're tuning in, and
Oh.
we give away X Premium, you can get follows from some of the Monad Foundation accounts. So we'll be spinning the wheel in a couple minutes for.
Well, when we're
for those
live,
who
maybe we'll
tuned in.
drop on a little, free year subscription.
That would be
Ooh.
To
big.
Kinetic AI live, you might get a subscription on the show
I
today.
love the background.
We have a question from God. The pronunciation is so hard with these guys. Can you guys choose like names like Harry or John or something?
It's just Q. That works.
We have Platon BBT. Platon asks, why did you choose Monad as the foundation for Kinetic AI? And what specific advantages does it offer over other L1 solutions?
I mean, it's interesting. Marielle, who I'm not going to parse, would say it's all about the speed of what you guys are doing. From a tech standpoint, we needed it, and we're going to need it. For me, as CEO, it's about the people in this room, Keone, Joey, people that I met 9 months ago that have leaned in meaningfully, helping us get to this place. And that's not bullshit. Like, you guys have been incredible supporters. And so to me, relationships are everything. And so the combination of speed and relationship, I mean, easy decision.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Platon BBT, you just got your answer. I have one other question, which was actually mentioned earlier in the show, but maybe for the clip. Is Kinetic exploring partnerships with major platforms like YouTube, Instagram, or Creative Commons? Is this like a plug for Creative Commons? What is that?
It's a license.
Okay. All right. Or Creative Commons to broaden detection and enforcement capabilities.
Yeah. So good question, whoever asked it. We're doing a couple of things on the partnership side. So first, we do have partners within the YouTube community that can meaningfully ramp content detection and DRM. By the way, if that person's interested in that, they should DM Chaos and we can get them some more information. So we are building partnerships across the platforms. We are also building partnerships around licensing. And so it's not something we are going to be focused on. But again, when you think about what we're trying to do here, when you think about, if I post a TikTok, what I see right now are the views and the likes and the reposts on TikTok. Now what we're going to show is where it goes. And so that level of engagement are going to amplify if you're doing a brand deal or you're doing what have you. You now can, if you're getting paid $500 a post, you can maybe get paid $1,000. And so bringing that level monetization. So when we look at licensing, that level of kind of engagement, we're going to be doing some partnerships within licensing, and we're going to be, we're going where the content is, but we are laser focused on not doing everything. Like, we are laser focused on, here's what you own and here's where it is. And the rest is all going to be through partnerships.
It's making me realize as well kind of the advantage of this for not just individual creators, but brands. Because as a brand, especially if you tend to get like a decent amount of engagement, there's kind of like there's a lot of data. It's really, really hard to determine how valuable that data is. Mostly it's like, are we getting like conversions onto whatever we want to convert on? And then anything beyond that is kind of like vanity metrics, take it with a grain of salt. Do impressions look good? Do likes look good? Do the ratios kind of line up? But brands actually don't get very much insight into how much their content moves the needle, because you don't necessarily understand who is consuming that. And it really seems like brands are going to get a big unlock.
I mean, I couldn't agree more, right?
Yeah.
I think we move, ad tech's a word that gets thrown around a lot, but the ad space online is changing, right? With SEO changing and AI and, publishers and what have you. I think it's going to be a big push for us from the enterprise side. So we've talked a lot about the consumer module. We have an entire enterprise module where we are working with, and we have POCs with some of the bigger companies out there, but it is a big space and big push for us in 26 to allow brands or ad agencies or whoever to actually understand what their content is doing, right? From an ROI perspective and et cetera, because they see first derivative data, right? They see where the platform data goes, but they don't see the second derivative. And that is, I think, an enormous unlock as we think about kind of the future.
Beautiful. Well, just one more question from me before we spin the wheel for the community, and we'll let you run, because I know there's a lot to work on. But my final question is there anything that you guys don't do? Like, you just drop in the last minute, like, oh yeah, also we have like an enterprise platform. It's going to be like just massive unlock for brands. It's like,
you know what?
Holy cow.
I don't know. There's, I'm sure, a bunch of things that I'm just thinking about whether I should, shout out to my wife who's like, no, there isn't, because I'm working after dinner and what have you. No, I mean, it sounds obviously far encompassing, but I keep coming back to the same quote unquote talking point. Like, we want to be the place that you can certificate, here's what I own, here's when I made it, and the place where I can engage to knowing where it goes. That has a lot of use cases, right? So we're not a big team. And so we are chopping wood at the right time and kind of pace. But yes, we do believe, if we can hit this out of the park and execute, there's a lot of applications here.
Let's hit it out of the park.
All right. I love it.
Love it.
Thanks,
Michael,
man.
Pleasure. As always. We'll
Thanks,
have to run it
fellas.
back soon.
Thank
I know
you.
we've got updates
love
coming in September and well beyond. Would love
All right,
to
good stuff.
would love to bring you back on. And
Thanks. Been great.
only a short walk away from where
Only a
you're
short
off and
walk
working.
away.
Beautiful.
Thanks, everyone.
Beautiful.
Bye,
Very